Hey guys, Antonio here, and once again, welcome to ReviewTube. Now, I've got a very exciting piece of technology in front of me, but before I get to the review, I just want to say a few things. This won't be an in-depth user guide on how to use the camera, neither I will be commenting on the never-ending battle of Nikon versus Canon. This will just be a review of the camera, and I'll try to explain my views and why I think this is one of the best cameras that you can get right now if you're on a budget or just starting out. So with all of that said, let's start the review. This video has been brought to you by Audible, the leading provider of audiobooks. Nope, no it isn't. I wish it was. Now, some of you might have already looked into this camera and will be like, wait, this camera came out in 2015. Why are you presenting it as the best one of 2016? Yes, I'm completely aware of that, but just the fact that this is still one of the best cameras that you can get out there should mean something to you. Let me explain. The body of the camera is extremely well built. It's made out of a carbon fiber composite material, which not only makes the camera a lot lighter than its competitors, but it makes it a lot nicer to hold in hand. The material is extremely resistant, as the camera can withstand fairly hard falls and the majority of scratches. So compared to its predecessors and other competitive cameras, this camera is both lighter and better built. Now, I know that a lot of you guys don't really care whether the camera is a bit lighter or a bit heavier, but trust me, I was like that too. Now that I've gotten this camera that is really light, my hands are happy that they don't have to carry anything heavy for a few hours a day. Taking a look at the camera from the front, we come to its first big selling point, the lens. If you decide to buy this camera right now, you can choose to get it with this new AFP lens. Not that the older AFS lens has something wrong with it, but the new has some improvements. The AFP lens uses a stepping motor, which makes focusing silent and a lot faster. The lens, combined with this camera body, with its 39 AF points, 9 of which are cross-type, makes focusing so much faster and so much more precise. In general, about 25% faster. Aside from all that, the new lens appears to be much better built and has a new focus ring. The new ring doesn't have two hard stops at each end, but features a ring that rotates completely. This allows for a much easier focus pull, as well as making the mounting of a smooth focus much easier. So on the side of the camera we can see the flash button, the function button, which is by default programmed to change your ISO level. Then we can see the lens ejection button, as well as the multifunction button, which switches between higher or lower burst modes and different other styles of shooting like time lapses, etc. Here's also another strong point of this camera, and that's the fact that it has built-in Wi-Fi. What that allows you is to look at the photos that you've just taken on your smartphone with the included app, and also transfer photos between your camera and the smartphone, so you can maybe upload them to your social media or something else. If we raise the cover on the side, here's where we can find the microphone in port, the AV port and the charging port. Taking a look behind the camera, we come to its second best thing, the touchscreen. The touchscreen itself is super sharp, fast and responsive, and it's totally adjustable. You can put it out, rotate and position to your liking. Using the touchscreen saves you a lot of time when using the camera. Instead of going through all the settings using the navigation wheel, you can now just touch on the setting that you want to change and go there immediately. It saves you a lot of time. Aside from being super useful and quick for navigating through the settings, you have the possibility of customizing the touchscreen and its functions in different situations. For example, if you've got your eye up to the viewfinder, the camera recognizes that you're using the viewfinder and not the touchscreen, but even though the touchscreen is off, you can still tap on it and switch different settings. This is by default set to turn on and off the grid line in your viewfinder, so you can just pull your camera up to your eye and then touch the screen to change the settings, even though the screen is off. Speaking of the touchscreen, I want to touch up on something that I've seen in a lot of videos, and that's regarding the user interface on the camera. A lot of videos are saying that the Nikon's user interface is just a touch more difficult to use than Canon's, but I completely disagree with that. We currently live in an age where everything around us changes so quickly and we adapt to new things daily, without even noticing them. So I really think that if you buy this camera or any other camera, that you'll be able to use it in a matter of hours without even reading the manual. Yes, there are going to be some technical facts that you're going to have to look up and understand, but just the basic functions of the camera should be pretty straightforward. So is it that reason to buy another camera over this one because this is a touch more difficult to use? I don't think so. On top of the camera we can see the two control wheels, which you use to change different settings and shooting options. Now the wheels themselves are really responsive and clicky, and I haven't found that I've changed some settings without noticing, because you would hear a click or something, so yeah, that's a good thing. Right next to the hot shoe mount on the top of the camera is the stereo microphone. Now this is how the microphone sounds straight from the camera, without any post-processing, in a closed room, and not really ideal sound recording situation. While we're on the subject of recording stuff, I want to touch upon the video quality of this camera. Now this camera provides something that no other budget camera on the market currently does. That's Full HD 1080p video in 60 frames per second. None other camera provides that, not even some of Canon's more expensive ones, like the 70D, which costs around $300 or euros more. For me and some other people out there, this is going to be a huge reason to buy this camera, because you get some options that you don't get anywhere else. While we're on the subject of image quality, there's a thing that's equally important for video as well as photography, and that's dynamic range. Now this camera has 14 stops of dynamic range. Basically, the more stops that a camera has, it can more easily differentiate between 2 points that are not equally light up. So more points means more separation in darker areas as well as lighter areas, which in the end mean more details in those areas. Now, right before I bought this camera, I saw a great comparison of the dynamic range of this camera with Canon 750D. Now I'm going to put the video in the description down below, as well as I'm going to put a screenshot of that video right now on the screen. As you can see on the photo, in the dark areas, the Nikon sees much more details and much more information from that area in respect to the Canon one. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're into photography, videography or whatever, you want details in your photos. You want that image to be as crisp as possible. And if this camera can provide details in certain areas where other cameras fail, for me that's a pretty big deal. Now, all of the modern cameras provide a million different shooting settings, from landscape, portrait, monochrome, different color settings and everything. That's all cool, but in the end you end up shooting raw photos, which means that you can edit all of your settings afterwards in programs like Lightroom or something like that. But in video mode, not every camera can shoot raw video. This camera comes close to that by using a shooting mode called flat mode. What that means is that the camera is going to pick up as much details, as much information that it can from the sensor, with the most dynamic range, picking up all of the colors and everything, so you can get the best image possible for your video. Now, that video straight from the camera doesn't look beautiful. This is how it looks like. But when you edit it, when you color correct it and color grade it, the video comes up pretty good, and it can be compared to some pretty expensive cameras. So what that means is that you can take your videos up to the next level without having to spend a lot of money. Another big thing with this camera is its low light performance. Not really low light performance, but the fact that you can go high with your ISO levels without getting that graininess in your videos. So what that means is that this camera can shoot on a higher ISO level without being as grainy as photos shot at the same ISO level with different cameras. In the end, what that translates to is being able to shoot at a higher ISO level without losing the details in your photos. And as a beginner, you really need that, because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to shoot at a higher ISO level that you wanted to, but with this camera, you're not going to lose as much detail as you would with other cameras. So that's a great thing to have in your pocket. If you screw up, this camera is going to have your back and help you out. Last two quick notes before the conclusion of this video. First of which is the battery life. Battery life of this camera is absolutely amazing. You can take upwards of 1,000 photos on a single charge, which, I don't know, translates into 3 days of continuous shooting for me, for example, when I'm traveling, or 2 or more hours of shooting full 1080p 60 fps video. Now, compared to other cameras, I haven't tested that because I don't own other cameras, but from what I've read online, this camera is far better than those, or equally as good. second thing that I want to talk about is the family or the brand of the camera that you're buying. Now, personally, I don't have nothing against Canon, but since I'm a student, I buy everything on a budget. This was a big thing for me. And the Canon has had the same F-mount on its camera bodies for the last 40 or 50 years. What that means is that you can buy 40 or 50-year-old lenses and still use them with this camera. And as you can imagine, 40 or 50-year-old lenses are not going to be that expensive. Now, yes, not all of them are perfectly sharp, but you can get lenses that are as sharp as the ones that you could buy today brand new for, I would say, 3 or 4 times less money, which is great. So you can invest your money in other areas and improve your photography or videography in a different of ways. So to summarize this video and not make it much longer, I'm going to read the notes from my phone. Compared to its predecessors, the camera provides advances both in image quality, functionality, dynamic range, better shooting options, higher ISO range, and so on. That makes it stand from its predecessors. And on the other side, it has a better kit lens and a touchscreen, which makes your life so much easier. A ton of built-in options. It's a pleasure to use and play around, which is the most important thing in my case. If you enjoy using the camera, you're just going to find yourself picking it up in the middle of the day without even thinking it and going out and shooting, and just going to be like, I really enjoy this. I don't know how this happened. Anyhow, let's continue. Compared to, for example, Canon cameras, which are its most known competitors, it's better built. It's, for me, easier to use. I enjoy using it more than I enjoy using Canon cameras. It's lighter, a lot lighter, so your hands are not going to get as tired. It has better video options, a lot better video options, better kit lens, and overall a camera that is more pleasurable to use and than a lot of other ones that I've tried. So that's it. In my opinion, this is the best camera that you can get right now, and honestly, compared to some other more expensive cameras, to be fair, depending on what you want to do with the camera also plays a big role in this. But if you're starting out, if you don't know what you're going to do with the camera, you don't know if you want to shoot photos, play with the video settings and everything, just play around with the camera in general, this is a absolute amazing camera to start with, and I've loved every moment of using it, and I would highly suggest it. And camera, you deserve a kiss. Idea? So that's pretty much it. If you like the video, please like the video. It shows your support for me having to turn off the AC because it makes a noise when I'm recording, and I'm really sweaty here. This has been like 150th try of this video. Yeah, if you want, check out my other videos. So follow me on social media. I put up stuff regularly, once every 6 months. Yeah. If you want to see a video every 6 months, please subscribe. It's going to be fun. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.